from my treadmill. Can you guys guess who I'm interviewing today? I'm sure you already saw it by the thumbnail, but I'm interviewing seriously one of my all-time heroes, Dr. Michael Greger. He runs nutritionfacts.org, which is a nonprofit that researches scientific articles, gives us the evidence-based nutrition that we all want. I totally recommend his website. Following the Daily Dozen plan let me lose 80 pounds, regain my health, really transform everything in my life. I will link my plant-based story up above for you to watch. But I'm so excited for you guys to ask your questions. I asked in our Facebook group. I wrote all of them down. I'm so excited to get to meet him and just have a lovely conversation about science-based medicine. And I know you guys are gonna like this, so if he mentions anything from what he has going on, if he has any links that he referenced to, I would do my best and link them down below for you guys. Can you tell I'm so pumped for tonight? And I know you guys are gonna really like this whole video, so make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe if not, and I will see you guys when we get to meet the doctor. So I thought we would duel on our matching treadmills.
I love it. This is the first time, you know, I'm so impressed.
Oh, well, I was so inspired by you that I actually do my job from walking all day long.
I love it. I love it. Join the club. I love it.
Meetings, I'm on here and making people nauseous all day long too.
You are inspiring people. That's wonderful.
Well, before I begin, I just wanted to give a big thank you from the bottom of my heart because I met you about a couple years ago, and I'm sure you've met so many people you don't remember. I was actually at the back of the line wearing a lot of your gear, and you pulled me up straight to the beginning. I got to cut everyone and meet you the first person.
Awesome.
But your nutritionfacts.org has completely changed my life and inspired me to share it with others. I lost 80 pounds.
Oh my God.
Got off 2 different blood pressure medicines. Had more blood pressure. Reduced my C-reactive protein from a 16 down to normal.
Nice.
You know, and I can go on and on. And that was all when I was like 25, and now I'm 30 and, you know,
good
thriving.
For you. Good for you. That's fantastic.
So it's been
congratulations.
Kind of my gift to give back and make a channel and inspire other people that they can do this. And I just always recommend the Daily Dozen and Nutrition. It's always my first go-to for people.
Well, I'm honored to help out.
Well, I asked a bunch of people in our group for questions. So I thought
let's do it.
Get as many in as possible.
Oh, let's do it.
I had our first question. I would like to know more information on the impact of plant-based eating and skin cancer. What foods in particular boost protection against skin cancer cells developing?
That is a fascinating question. Diet-wise, I think there's only, there's, concerns over tanning beds, increasing risk of melanoma, particularly among young people. But in terms of diet, I think the only thing I have on Nutrition Facts is a concern about Viagra class drugs, these phosphodiesterase inhibitor drugs, increasing one's risk of melanoma because the same enzyme they inhibit for its desired effect also, I forget exactly how that translates to increased melanoma risk, but it was just such a fascinating thing. I had to do a video about it.
Okay. Best ways to test for food allergies.
To what food allergies?
Food allergies.
Oh, what to do with food allergies? Avoid the foods that you're allergic to.
Is there any testing that you recommend?
Oh, testing. Oh, yeah. See that most allergy testing on the market is bogus, and so really the only way to do it is traditional allergies. It's kind of an immediate reaction, right? So you eat a food, and all of a sudden your tongue swells, and you have trouble breathing, and you start wheezing. I mean, in which case, you don't need any testing. You just never eat that food again. But But I mean, I think when it comes to things like food intolerances, then you can do these kind of elimination diets where you cut out common culprits and then start adding them back slowly to your diet and see if the symptoms come back. They're relatively rare. I mean, most important thing, you want to cut out dairy. A lot of it, these kind of symptoms are lactose intolerance. Cutting out dairy and eggs basically should clear up a lot of those. But there's the rare person with soy allergies or whatever, and maybe, I mean, if you can make someone better by making a tweak in their diet, well, obviously that's what we want to do, as opposed to going on allergy medications or something. As always, we want to treat the cause.
Very good. Um, do you have any recommendations for foods to eliminate or to add in if someone has a thyroid problem?
Oh, why? Just that's what I'm doing right now. My latest videos, nutritionfacts.org. The new one, will be out on Monday. Talks about black cumin as a therapy for Hashimoto's thyroiditis, an autoimmune hypothyroidism. In terms of exact dosing, I'm sure it'll be in the Monday video.
Sounds good to me.
You heard it here first.
What about collagen supplements? They're very popular right now. Do young women need to take them?
Crazy kooky.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, this one's a little bit longer. How badly does it set you back health-wise when you have a binge day? Other than the difficulties getting back on track, what is the impact in your blood levels, damage tissue, or cause psychological damage?
Well, our bodies really have a remarkable ability to bounce back. And so the take home message I want people to have is that you shouldn't let that one day of slipping up translate into a year of slipping up. People have this, oh, I already screwed up, and so therefore screw it. But no, that's not the way at all. It's cumulative damage, right? I mean, I have all these videos where this remarkable reversal of disease after, stabbing yourself with a fork for 60 years, and all of a sudden you just stop stabbing, and all of a sudden your body comes back to normal. I mean, that's amazing. And it's been wanting to do that every single day, but you kept hurting it. And so, I mean, it's really just a matter of, of get off the wagon, you just jump right back on again. And you must realize, look, these people are, eating badly for 60 years and they're still reversing disease as soon as they clean up their diet. So, it's really the day-to-day stuff that adds up. I wouldn't worry about holidays, birthdays, special occasions. Day-to-day basis, though, kind of your regular routine, get a good breakfast in, get a good, that's really what you want to be good. And then, it matters less if you, pick up a cigarette once in a while or eat something bad.
Okay. Any evidence about the standard American diet linked to mental illness?
Oh, tons. In fact, that's a subject of the book I'm writing, which will be out December 2029. So a bunch of videos on nutritionfacts.org. There's videos on dietary interventions for generalized anxiety disorder, for mood disorders, for major depression, and just boosting mood in general. I mean, we've long known, we have these cross-sectional data, that people who eat better feel better. So wait a second, though. I mean, how do we know if it's cause or effect? And maybe people who feel better go on to eat better, right? You don't need comfort foods if you don't need to be comfort. And so it wasn't until this group at the University of Arizona actually put it to the test, where they took people, randomized them to the regular diet versus a diet that eliminated meat, fish, chicken, eggs, and saw a significant improvement in mood within 2 weeks. First time ever. Not only a randomized control trial saw a significant improvement in mood in that short of time. It's only been proven on a plant-based diet. And now they think, we're not exactly sure what's going on. We think it may be the arachidonic acid, this long-chain inflammatory omega-6 fatty acid found predominantly in chicken and eggs, that was causing neuroinflammation, brain inflammation. But you could clear that inflammation apparently in as few as 2 weeks by cutting out, eggs, chicken, and other meat.
Amazing. Which is better for your health, fortified or unfortified nutritional yeast?
So if that's your only source of vitamin B12, then absolutely fortified. And you want it fortified specifically with vitamin B12. And then you have to take enough. But if it's something you add to every meal, then that's certainly a doable option. Probably easier to just take a vitamin B12 supplement once a week or something. And in which case, it doesn't really matter. Basically, you're peeing it out. When you drink nutritional yeast, your pee turns yellow. That's just B vitamins, riboflavin. You're just peeing out. So it just kind of washes right through you. If you're eating a plant-based diet, you're getting tons of these nutrients. You don't need to take extra, but it's actually more expensive to get the unfortified kind. So might as well save your money and buy extra kale.
Okay. All right. Are there any benefits in decaf green tea? I know regular green tea is very healthy, but some people might be more sensitive to the caffeine. Can you drink decaf green tea?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, the decaffeination process does remove some, but not all, of the good nutrition. And so, absolutely, if you can't do caffeine, decaf green is a perfect way to go.
What foods can help gallstones, and foods should be avoided?
Unfortunately, once you have gallstones, they're not going anywhere. And then it's a matter of surgery or no surgery. But in terms of and it's actually the controversial in terms of preventing gallstones. There was a study. If you go back to How Not to Die, if I remember correctly, there's a study showing vegetarians actually had higher rates of gallstones, which is strange because gallstones are actually made out of cholesterol. They're little rock crystals of cholesterol. But I remember when going back to that data later, a bigger, better study showed that that actually wasn't the case. But if you go to How Not to Die, but look, that was years ago. So, that's why I like doing stuff online, is because I can, I can tweak things, I can re-upload things, I can always be, right, I can always be current.
And the science always changes. So, well, some of it. Do you think it's okay for people to have gallstone problems to have soy?
Oh, yeah, I can't imagine any relationship between gallstones and soy.
Do you have any plans to write any nutrition facts for children books?
Oh, that's fascinating. No, I'm just writing. God, How Not to Die at 3,000 citations. How Not to Die at 5,000. How Not to Age is going to have the same amount. It's like this is, you need kind of a high level, to even understand the videos. I'm constantly being told feedback. You really got to dumb down your videos. People don't understand the words you're using, and I totally understand that and hear that. And there's like rules of guidelines, like you're supposed to make it like fourth grade reading letter or something. But I think I would be doing people a disservice by oversimplifying.
Mm.
And rightly criticized for kind of oversimplifying a complex subject. I really want people to be like, look, this is the science. This is all the available science. I'll try to explain it as best I can. But yeah, I don't want to dumb it down. But there have been some people that have done cookbooks and children's books based on kind of Daily Dozen and things. So that's awesome. I'm totally in favor of it. It's just, I want to be deep in the kind of high-minded science.
I always point people towards Brenda Davis, and she came out with a new book, and
yeah,
she has that.
Anything she does turns to gold.
I agree. When women are trying to get pregnant, they're often recommended folic acid. Do you think that they should do that if they're eating enough folate? Should they be?
Even more importantly, even if you're not wanting to get pregnant, you still could get pregnant if you're of reproductive age. And so that's why all women, regardless of intention of reproductive age, should be taking should either be getting sufficient folate from beans and greens or taking folic acid supplement. The reason they add is because no one eats beans and greens, so they want people to actually take a pill. But the critical thing is that you need to have this this important B vitamin folate to prevent a very serious birth defect. And it's actually one of the great public health victories of our time, the fact that we've almost eliminated this, what used to be a relatively common birth defect, just by getting folic acid out there. I mean, you can get it from whole food sources as well. But if you refuse to eat beans and greens, then yeah, I would take it in a pill, because you say, well, wait a second, I'm not gonna, I don't have any plans of getting pregnant, and if I get pregnant, then I'll take it. No, then it's too late, unfortunately. The critical period is very early, before women even realize they're pregnant. That's when you need the folate. And so that's why they're like, all right, that's it. As soon as you start menstruating, everybody gets folic acid, to try to prevent this very serious beef. And they're just assuming no one's going to eat beans or greens to save their life, so take it in a pill.
Can osteoporosis be reversed with nutrition, supplements, and exercise?
Well, so osteopenia can. So osteopenia is decreased bone mineral density. Once you already have osteoporosis, once you've lost sufficient amount of bone mass, I'm not sure we're going to be able to get much back. But you can certainly go from losing bone, then gaining bone, gaining bone. And the most important intervention is weight-bearing exercises. Use it or lose it. Your body's not going to spend all this time, making your bones strong if it doesn't think you're going to use it. That's why astronauts lose 2% of their skeletal mass every single month, because they're just floating around. The body's like, well, I'm not going to waste time on this if you're not going to use it. And unfortunately, well, most Americans are like living astronaut lives, just floating in their couch, and their bones are just wasting away.
I actually have a weighted vest that sometimes I put on while
that's
I'm
so cool.
walking treadmill.
You are next level.
Why not, right? For a little bit.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Yeah, no, exactly. Why not? Very cool.
Is non-alcoholic beer okay to drink on occasion?
Almost anything is okay to consume on occasion, right? Again, it's not all or nothing, and it's really the day-to-day stuff. But I wouldn't be drinking it on a day-to-day basis, right? It's basically just empty calories. But if it's something you really enjoy, then yeah, make it a treat.
Now, is the hops in non-alcoholic beer? There's a company that makes actually green tea infused, and they brew it green tea like beer and hops.
Funky.
Would that be a potential product?
Yeah, so I would encourage people to check out. I have this really funky video on hops and this phytoestrogen in hops that actually may be harmful. And unlike the phytoestrogens, for example, in soy. And so, it's not something I do day to day.
Okay.
Just drink green tea.
What are the best foods to boost your immunity?
It's mostly common sense stuff: getting enough sleep, getting enough exercise, not smoking, eating a healthy diet. There are certainly specific foods. I have this crazy video talking about this randomized controlled trial where they gave people broccoli sprouts and then squirted influenza up their nose. And those eating broccoli sprouts had significantly lower titers of virus, significantly decreased virus-induced inflammation, significantly improved, boosted immune response. It's like, well, wait a second, you stuck the virus up the nose, but they're eating broccoli sprouts. What is going on? Very, very cool. And so there's studies like that. There's a study on white mushrooms. I think it was 3/4 of a cup of white mushrooms for children, preventing upper respiratory ailments. There was a study on nutritional yeast, on that beta-glucan fiber nutritional yeast. It doesn't help people who are not stressed. Like if you're just healthy and fine, it's not going to do anything. But if you just ran a marathon, or if you have a lot of stress in your life, like work stress, then bakers, brewers, or nutritional yeast has this special fiber that boosts your immune system and can help you fight off respiratory infection.
Okay. What are your thoughts for people with no gallbladder? Do you recommend enzymes?
No, all the gallbladder does is helps emulsify fats. Enzymes don't have anything to do with that, but you may have to be on a low-fat diet just because otherwise you may just not kind of digest as well.
Okay. Fermented and pickled foods, healthy, and then the high salt content. So pickles, sauerkraut. I know kimchi. I've seen your video on that.
Right? Yeah, no, it's all too salty.
Okay. And then this is another one on salt. Salt causes high blood pressure, stomach cancer, and general inflammation. We know miso does not do that, but does it cause inflammation though?
Oh, that is a fantastic question. How high? I tell you, these are some great questions. We do not know that. That has never been put to the test. And yeah, there's this really remarkable data showing that if you take kids with asthma, for example, put them on a low salt diet, you can significantly decrease asthma exacerbations. You can decrease lung inflammation. You have people hock up loogies, and there's fewer inflammatory cells. There's less pus in those that had been on low salt diets. And these were really elegant studies where they put everyone on a low salt diet and then secretly gave people these slow release sodium tablets or placebo. And so they're all on the exact same diet, but one was actually eating normal levels of sodium unbeknownst to them, and the other one wasn't. And you could show these remarkable differences in inflammation, particularly autoimmune inflammation. There's a sodium sensitive enzyme that turns on these T helper 17 cells, which are involved in autoimmune diseases, may play a role in multiple sclerosis and rheumatoid arthritis, and on down the list. So yeah, that is an unanswered question. Whether miso, it doesn't seem to have the stomach cancer effect, doesn't seem to have the high blood pressure effect. But what about inflammation? I was just reading some, I was just reading something on soy soy and oxidation. Yeah, there was some interesting anecdotal reports of miso soup drinkers after the bombs were dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, seemingly to do better. And so they do these really horrible experiments on animals where they blast them with radiation, and some had been eating miso soup and the other ones didn't, and there was remarkable differences in survival, but none of that has been replicated in humans. But that's really an oxidation, a DNA damage kind of effect rather than an inflammation effect. So yeah, that's a good question. I'd love to, I bet there's got to be some research out there. That's something I'll actually look up. So thanks to you, there may be a new video coming out.
Great. Do kale sprouting seeds have the same benefits as broccoli sprouts?
Ooh, I don't see why not. I've never even done that. I've never even sprouted kale. That sounds cool. Have you?
I have not. I've only done broccoli.
I don't even know. What do they look like?
I've only seen microgreens of
right.
kale and arugula.
Oh, maybe they're tasty. I assume they'd have the same effect.
Yeah, probably. Then the question is, are they more nutritious than kale if you could find them in the produce section?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So for example, sprouted broccoli is healthier on a weight by weight basis as regular broccoli. But come on, how many broccoli sprouts can you eat? They're pretty spicy, right? And they're so light. So like even if you had like a whole cup, which would be pretty hardcore. How light is that? That's like a couple florets of broccoli, right? So you can eat a whole head of broccoli, no problem, right? And so in that way, on a per serving basis, actually you might get more from just regular kale, regular broccoli. But if you do want to kind of supercharge your salad or something, yeah, adding some sprouts on top would be a great idea.
Are there any tweaks that we need to make on the daily dozen for children to get what they need?
Missing from the daily dozen, for example, is vitamin B12 is kind of a separate thing. That's critically important, obviously, for children. But yeah, in terms of foods, very same kind of food. So one thing I would tweak is they have such small stomachs that you really need to move towards the more calorically dense foods, right? So we as adults can eat these big salads, and there's actually a benefit to eating big salads because it's there's a huge amount of food and very few calories. Right, that's great for someone who's, trying to maintain their weight, but not great if you have a little kid. You feel all of a sudden they eat this much food and they're totally full and they got like no calories. And so that's why, they actually have higher caloric needs per body weight than adults do because they're growing. And so, you really have to think about things like smoothies and nuts and seeds and nut butters and, dried fruit, kind of trail mix kind of thing, really dense, calorically dense foods because they have, they get such little tummies that that caloric density thing really kind of works against them,
Mm.
particularly if they're not gaining weight as they should be.
And I have the last question, and I thought we'd end on this one because this one's pretty good.
Let's do it.
What is the best strategy for refuting health claims made by people following a keto diet?
What's the best
I guess,
thing?
yeah, what would you say if somebody was trying to say keto is healthy and
Oh my God. It's so, I mean, it's like, what do you say when someone says that, smoking cigarettes is healthy? It's just like you look at them, we're like, well, they're just not. And you're like, well, wait a second, according to who? According to the nutrition authority. So I guess one thing you could do, this is a little geeky, but you can send them to the truehealthinitiative.org. It's kind of like the IPCC of nutrition. There's so much controversy over climate. They actually brought together hundreds of the top climate scientists in the world to come out with this report. And so it's like, well, okay, yeah, but what does the science say? So you go to the IPCC. And so Dr. David Katz at the Yale Prevention Research Center brought together hundreds of nutrition scientists like Walt Willett, et cetera, at Harvard, to agree on a consensus statement as to what is the healthiest diet. Because there's so much craziness out there, keto and carnivore, whatever. So, okay, well, what does the science say? And spoiler alert, it's a diet centered around whole plant foods. And so, but you can be like, well, don't trust me. Why don't we trust what the science says? Hundreds of the top nutrition scientists have to say about a healthy diet, and it's basically the opposite of a ketogenic diet.
Well, we like geeky here, so I'm all
right, excellent.
Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me. Again, it's been an honor, and I've been looking forward to this ever since your team reached out, and just such a fan. And yeah, you're just a rock star in my book, and I can't wait to see everything that you have coming out soon. I know that you have some webinars coming out.
Ooh,
you want to tell us about it, and I'll link it in
the okay, so June 11th, I have a webinar on meat, and then July 16th, a webinar on mycotoxins, and then more webinars after that, but I don't know the dates.
Okay, well, that's wonderful, and we are so looking forward to it. I'll link everything down below I can. And what's the book that you're working on right now?
How Not to Age. It should be out December of next year.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all you do, and it's just been so awesome hanging out with you.
Absolutely. Keep up the great work. Keep inspiring people.
Got to get your weighted vest next time.
Oh, I know. Oh, my God. You're like way ahead of me.
All right. We'll see you later. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.